Hello, travelers. Welcome on in. This is the 167th level of the RPG Cave. I'm one of your hosts, the level 199 human Dark Lord, Ryan Turford, and I am joined, as always, by the first time in a while, because we just got back from the holidays, the level 199 Elf Battle Alchemist, Dr. Paullin. How's it going, Garret?
Ryan, I have failed you, and I'm sorry. Starting out in 2025, I had to be punctual, had to be on time. Guess what happened? My phone decided to delete my alarm. That's exactly what happened. It's not anything to do with me. My phone and its deep AI destroyed my alarm.
How does a phone delete your alarm? Why does your phone delete an alarm? How does this happen?
I don't know. Maybe it played mind tricks on me. You know, forgot to set something up, but that's how it happened. Woke up 7:45. Fortunately, woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get things going. You know, I gotta walk the dog. I gotta make coffee. I gotta put the bread in our brand new toaster to toast some bread. You know.
Ooh, I like a brand new toaster.
Oh, it's a really good toaster. You know, there's cheap toasters out there. Of course, you can get you can get any kind of toaster, like down to like $10 or something. But this one's like premium set, and like every time you punch in that bread in there, perfect toast comes out. It's amazing. So there you go. That's deep AI killing the alarm and really good toast. That's how we start out.
Yeah, I mean that's how we're starting 2025 with a bang on the RPG Cave, talking about deep AI alarms from your phone being deleted and brand new toasters.
Exactly.
Let me tell you what. But what's weird, Garret, actually, is that like I'm like wide awake because I've been awake for 2.5 hours now.
I'm proud of you.
Because I've shifted to a new schedule at work. I now work 9 to 5 now. So.
Oh wow, you follow the white collar shift, right? Yeah.
So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, essentially, is my new shindig. So as a result, I've been up for 2 hours, Garret. I ate breakfast. I've been playing Horizon because that's kind of my third and final wheel game that I need to finish. So that's what I've been doing.
Is it the second Horizon game for Ben West?
No, I am replaying Horizon Zero Dawn, but the remastered version.
Oh, okay. That's a
good
good game.
I haven't played that game since 2017, and I was like, I'm going to put this on the wheel because the remastered version's out, and I kind of wanted to replay it. In fact, it was the only game on my wheel of 174 games, Garret, that I'd played before. Was going to be like a repeat. So, but I've been hooked. I'll talk about it more on PlayStation Drive tomorrow. But I've been really, really happy playing that.
And game. It was chosen. It was like you did the wheel, and then boom.
Well, look, it was chosen as an alternate because it was one of 3 alternates. It was up there with Siphon Filter for the PlayStation 1, or also Trauma Center Second Opinion, which I was going to play instead, but my Wii U no longer works, and I don't have a Wii around. Because I was like, the Wii U is the best Wii around, so I'm just going to get rid of my normal Wii. So I need to replace that at some point. So... and I'm playing an alternate game because Resonance of Fate, Garret. Boy howdy,
it's not good.
That's a role playing game that we can talk about on a role playing game show. I was not into that game at all. I'm sorry.
Interesting.
I just really wasn't. Like the story was not good. The exploration was this weird hexagon map that you had to like fill in with these like shapes that you earned by doing separate things, and it was really weird. And then like the combat system, you had to like do all kinds of weird stuff. Man,
what's that Curved Bullet show or movie?
Wanted.
Wanted. Okay, it reminded me of that a little bit. Looking at the combat because they're just flying around shooting at the enemy.
Yeah, because you had like you had the hero. The hero moves, essentially.
The hero moves. Okay.
Where you could basically tell your character to run in a straight line, and then the game would automatically move the character as like you would target the enemies and then like do flips over their heads and stuff like that, which was cool. But then it's like, oh, well, now do these resonance moves and then do these like try moves, which is having to have the characters in like a perfect triangle. But you have to build up this resonance by having them run in a straight line between your two characters. And it was just this whole like convoluted mess of mechanics that I just did not want to deal with.
All right.
Yeah.
And then so you just give up, and now you're on the alternative. I'm glad you got a Horizon, because that's I think I recently finished that, like, I don't know, like a year and a half ago, a couple years ago now. I played the 60 FPS version on PS5, and that one looked really good.
Well, Garrett, let me tell you what. I'm playing it on PlayStation 5 Pro, and it's got the 60 FPS version with the fidelity mode. And this game is very pretty.
And it like merged everything together, you know?
Yeah. Like it runs at a great frame rate, and it looks incredible. So yeah, and I'm just really enjoying playing, because I actually really like Horizon a lot. But it's just been a while since I played it. 2017, so like 7 years ago.
Does the kid version of Aloy still look a little bit off?
Yeah.
It was just
still
a model,
got weird teeth too.
Yeah. Oh, the teeth. I remember the teeth.
Yeah.
It really creeped me out.
Yeah. But either way, I've been happy I made that choice, because like I said, Horizon's good. But like the other two games that I had for my wheel games were both good, because I played Echoes of Wisdom, and I really enjoyed that.
Okay,
and then I played Silent Hill 4 for the first time, and that was really great too.
Now, I hear about the performance issues with Echoes of Wisdom a lot. How did you think of it?
I mean, the frame rate was literally all over the place.
Oh my
At times
gosh.
it was 60 frames per second, and then you would literally take 3 steps to the left, and then it would go down to 30, and then just zigzag back and forth. So yes, that's a game that I think will, because it runs at an uncapped frame rate, or I think the frame rate's capped at 60 frames per second, but it runs like.
It runs like crazy.
Yeah, it runs anywhere between that. So, like, I think that's a game that's immediately going to get just instantly better when you play it on Switch 2.
Let's hope.
I mean, I would assume, like, just the more powerful hardware will just smooth that out.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
But anyways, that's what we played, I guess, over the holidays, or over the last, what we've been playing. We never usually do what we're playing on RPG Cave, because it's 8 minutes in the show. We haven't even started clearing the dungeon yet, so we should probably do that, Garrett.
Let's do that.
If you like what we do and you want to support the show, there's a number of amazing ways you can do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right now, over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, twitch.tv/carpoolgaming live, or of course podcast services around the globe, you of course can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the follow button if you're on Twitch. All those things are free ways you can help out the show in a myriad of different ways. Likewise, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Maybe leave us a nice comment if you're listening on Spotify, or leave us an Apple Podcast review if you're inclined to do so. We've also got our podcast feed over on Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. That includes all of the Carpool Gaming shows. And we want to say thank you to our brand new patrons, Jonathan James, for checking out the exclusive tier on a 7-day free trial, which of course is a thing, by the way. Nice. If you're interested in checking out the exclusive tier and hearing all of the exclusive content we have over on Patreon, there's a 7-day free trial. You can go over there like Jonathan James did. Check it out if you are interested. But we've also got Stephen Keller, who joined in at the gold membership tier. So shout out to our 2 newest patrons, Jonathan James and Stephen Keller. We've also got brand new content over on the Patreon. As I mentioned, we've got exclusive content over there, including, of course, the episode of Campfire that went out over on New Year's, that went out over the holidays. So make sure to check that out, as well as Sean's Pants episode. It's coming out tomorrow. So people submitted questions. Sean's going to answer those questions. Some of those questions may have to do with pants. I don't know, but you'll learn all about them tomorrow. So make sure to check that out. I'm not exactly sure who's next up on the docket, but Sean, at least at the main point, is that now. In fact, actually, no. I look at the document, Garrett.
I think
you're next.
Okay, all right. I guess I'm next.
I think that is the case.
Send your questions in to me.
Yeah, the question post for that will be up on the Patreon.
All kinds. Yes, sounds good.
Ask about Garrett's new toaster. You could do that.
I'll get into toaster mechanics, man.
Yeah.
The fine structure, the heating coils. I'll get into the nitty gritty.
You'll get so nerdy. I mean, you don't even have to ask about it. Garrett might just talk about it anyways.
Exactly.
Also, the holidays may be over. Xenobabes is no more, but the Santa Bobby merch is still here.
Oh, it's still there. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, you can go check it out as well. Of course, we've got the mug with different
cute.
handles. We've got the hoodies, we got the long sleeve shirts, and of course, what we have been dubbing the Australian Christmas sweater, aka t-shirt. So you make sure to check that out as well.
I want to shout out Fiona because she's been designing all of this stuff, and she just really blasted the New Year's Bobby just out of nowhere.
Yep.
For the New Year's time, and she's a rock star, just like sending these out. So shout out to Fiona.
She's so good.
She's so good.
But then, Garrett, there's one other thing I want to promote, and this isn't on my doc to read off, but I want to promote it anyways, even though I know it's actually one of your 3 things. So we can kind of like use this as a little bit of a segue into that.
Do it.
But Carpool Gaming Fantasy Critic is happening. It's a thing. Of course, if you are unfamiliar with what Fantasy Critic is, it's kind of like your fantasy hockey league, fantasy sports league of some kind, where each person will come up with their own team, and then you'll kind of pick the games that you want as part of your team, and then depending on how they score on Metacritic, you'll get points, and then we'll crown a winner in each league at the end of the year. Now, the drafts are happening this weekend. By the time you're listening to this, all of them should be commencing because the final one is tonight, which I'm a part of. In fact, we have a draft, Garrett, currently going while we're doing this. Like I'm scrolling through on the video version.
Cool.
With like a draft that's currently ongoing because Sean Capri is in this league.
We're seeing it live.
We're seeing it live. So if you're not part of Fantasy Critic, but you still want to check it out, we actually have a link for this in our Fantasy Critic channel on the Discord. But you can follow along if you go to the league you want to follow. There will be a follow button at the top. You can click on it, and then you can kind of like follow the progress of Carpool Gaming's Fantasy Critic throughout the year. And you'll get updates on who's winning, who's losing. I'm sure we're also going to be talking about it on the podcast as well. But we just wanted to throw it out there as well because, Garrett, I don't know if you do this about Fantasy Critic, but on the popular public leagues, we've got, Kind of Funny Games Cast, that league has got over 1,000 followers, right? No big deal. That's a lot of people. But if you notice here near the bottom, there are leagues here with like 18 and 19 people following them. And we want to get Carpool Gaming on this popular public leagues.
That would be cool.
So all we got to do is get people to follow. In fact, if we got 10 more followers on our leagues, Carpool Gaming would appear on this list, on the top 10 most popular leagues on Fantasy Critic. So do us a favor.
Go follow.
Do us a favor. Go over and follow. And like I said, follow the madness throughout the year, Garrett, because there's going to be There's going to be movement. There's going to be, drama with counter picks and other things. So make sure to check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. But Garrett, I feel like this seamlessly transitions us into your 3 things because you also had Fantasy Critic listed as one of your 3 things.
Yeah. So, what I've been doing for the past, has been a long time now. Past 4 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, since 2021, I've been managing the PSVG League for Fantasy Critic, and then we kind of morphed it in like 2023 into an actual buy-in. So you actually have to put in money in order to like get into the league, and then the top 3 places actually get some sort of cash reward. We do it through like a third-party website. In order to do that, it's a $20 buy-in that we're already done with the league and the draft, so you can't, it's not an invitation or anything. We're kind of set. We got 9 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, we got 9 people, and I just want to rattle off the games I've picked, and I want you to be the judge because apparently.
I'm ready to judge, Garrett. I'm ready to judge you on this. By the way, I should point out that my draft for the Carpool Gaming Fantasy Critic isn't till tonight, so I haven't actually drafted a team yet this year.
Got it. Okay, here's my so I had to draft 5 games.
Okay.
And then counterpick 1.
Okay. And they didn't have you draft specific categories because we're doing that on Carpool this year. We're having specific
we have some regular slots. We have some new game franchise slots. We have an expansion slot. You need an expansion in some kind throughout the year, and then the flex spot. So the flex spot can be pretty much anything you would like.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll get the least crazy ones out of the way. The Talos Principle Reawakened.
Okay.
The original Talos Principle, really good open critic score. So
Yeah, so did same with the sequel, Talos Principle 2.
yeah, too. Yeah. So hopefully this one is good. And then the other one that's not crazy, Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
That's a good one. We're going to talk about that on the show today, actually.
Ooh, nice. Oh, and then my third one that's not crazy, Lunar Remastered Collection.
Okay. That's not a crazy one. Those games back in the day when they first released reviewed very well. Like they were both in the 90s. So, but it'll be interesting to see how like people review the collection now, because I think it'll just depend on like new people playing those games for the first time. I think because I don't know how many people are going to review that have actually played the games before. So I think that it's going to be interesting, like to see those reviewed. Like I think if I was to hazard a guess, those are probably going to be like that's probably going to be like a low 80s.
Typically with these remastered collections with RPGs, they tend to be pretty good to great, no matter what, because your baseline is the old games, so it's kind of hard to mess it up.
Yeah, it just depends on how good the old games hold up, or I should say. But yeah, it's just the only thing I worry about with the reviews for that is going to be, well, how is someone new to those games who's reviewing them going to feel about them?
Yeah, I understand. All right, here are my crazy ones. You ready, Ryan?
I'm ready for the craziness.
Crimson Desert. That's my. You ever heard of that one, Crimson Desert?
I've heard of Crimson Desert.
Okay.
First of all, I know about Black Desert, the MMO that they made. But then Crimson Desert, we saw at the Game Awards. And
we did.
I am more concerned about that game even coming out this year.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. It's like, you're freaking crazy. It's not coming out this year. It's like, all right.
But sometimes you have to hedge your bets like that.
I got to put in my bets, though, and it looks super good.
Because like Grand Theft Auto 6 is out there, and they keep saying, and Rockstar says that game's coming out this year, but like there's no guarantee that game's coming out this year. So, but that game is going to obviously be like one of the top rated games of whatever year it comes out in. So it's just like, when do you take a chance on Grand Theft Auto 6 as an example?
And that was my other pick, Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh my god! You were the crazy person that went for Grand Theft Auto 6.
That was my first pick. Out of the bunch, I'm like, all right, Grand Theft Auto 6, let's go.
Now, what position did you draft in, Garret? Do you know?
I was like the order.
Like
I was
the bottom?
third.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my. So the other two, Haley picked Elden Ring, Night Rain, and then Rebecca picked Ghost of Yote.
Okay.
So, yeah. I was like, you guys are crazy. I'm going to pick Grand Theft Auto 6. And everyone's like, oh, okay. And so what we do in our Fantasy Critic is that counter picks lock in your game so you can't drop the game.
Yeah.
At all. So that was definitely locked. And Crimson Desert's locked, so can't wait for that.
Yeah. Those are the two where it's like, don't get me wrong. I think they would have had to be picked at some point during the draft. But I think like counter picking them is smart. Although Grand Theft Auto, that's one where it's like, if you counter pick that and it actually does come out, like you are going to basically lose the league.
You're done.
Because I think that game being below a 91 would like be catastrophic. So
it would.
That game's probably going to be 93 to 94 easily. So
minimum, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like whoever counterpicked that, if that actually does come out this year, like they're cooked, because that's gonna be like minus like 25 points or something.
And then I counterpicked, and I had some slim pickings, but I did pick Mafia: The Old Country.
Okay.
And just because of Mafia 3 had very lukewarm reviews, it was below a 70 on the Open Critic. So that's why I just that game was a glitchy mess when it came out. Like that was the main reason why it had really bad reviews. So yeah, I think it'll just with the new Mafia. I think it'll just depend on if it actually runs okay or if it's like a technical mess like Mafia 3 was. But all right,
that's an interesting list, Garret. It's an interesting list.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how all that goes. I'm really excited to start drafting tonight. I know, and I mean this is going to be no surprise to anyone, but like my first pick that I'm targeting is Metroid Prime 4. Like that's the one I really want to get. Because I like this is going to be the year for Metroid Prime 4. It's actually coming out this year, and it's one of those games that's going to easily probably rank up a 90. So at least like it's going to be one of the most, consistently solid picks out there. But there's like a lot of good like top end games I think you could go with.
There was.
Yeah,
for sure.
So lots of choice. But anyways, that's Fantasy Critic. We'll be talking about that more throughout the year. And like I said, if you want to follow our exploits, make sure to check that out in the Discord as well, because we'll have a link for it in the Fantasy Critic section. But Garrett, you had two other things.
Real quickly. I did get the Amberneck 35 XXSP.
Nice.
This little guy right there. So it is literally an SP. It clamshells. You see it? Right?
I see the clamshell action.
Oh my gosh. See? The light's still going. And then you just flip it up. Oh my gosh. You're back into it. All right? It's very nice. So, you go into your favorites. What's in there, Ryan?
Zelda 2, the greatest game of all time.
Zelda 2. And just press A right there. Look where I'm at. I'm just back into it.
Look at that.
There you go. And then you just flip it down. Huh?
Nice.
And then you flip it up, and you're right there. So, there you go.
But a version of Zelda 2 already exists on the Game Boy Advance, Garrett. You didn't need it.
Wait, what? What? What do you mean?
Didn't know that?
On the GBA?
Yeah. They did. So they did a line of games on the GBA that were classic NES re-releases.
I see.
And they had one for Super Mario Brothers, one for the original Legend of Zelda and whatnot, but they did one for Zelda 2. So that game actually exists on the GBA already.
Well, let me tell you, my SP, I still have my original SP. The light up screen is lame. The battery is dead. It's like about to explode, I think.
It's not as fancy as the thing you just showed me.
It plays Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, if you want, even some Dreamcast, if you really want to, stretch it to its limit. It does play N64 games and PlayStation 1.
Okay.
If you want. And I got this from AliExpress, and the stock firmware of Amberneck, it's fine. And you can probably play it out of the box if you want. And I'm like, no, I'm like a tinker. Let me strip everything out, put in a kind of a community-based OS in there, community developed. It's Linux-based, called Mustard OS or Mio OS, and it makes everything so simple. Just very minimum, very sleek. Just put in your games, and then like you can, as you can see, you could just like clamshell it. You have settings to like automatically save the game and turn it off, or there's just a whole number of options you have with it. So anyways,
nice, man. Nice.
I love it. It's like you just put it in your pocket, and then once you're ready to play again, you just take it out and then flip it, and then it's pretty good.
Nice.
All right.
Third thing.
I gotta talk about Metaphor. I am not gonna, get into the spoilerish story territory. I just want to tell you where I'm at.
Okay.
Because I'm not done.
No, well, it's a long game, Garrett.
I'm not done.
But you played it a lot over the holidays.
I did play it a lot. I am like on the last month.
Okay.
And you know what the last month is.
I know what the last month's all about, Garrett.
Yes, I'm on the optional bosses. I'm on the dungeons. I'm maxing out every social link. I'm at that point. I'm 96 hours in.
Nice.
And I think I've really gotten to a point where I'm just so heavily invested in the archetype building.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I was not limited by the MAG.
Right.
Because I just, you know what I want to do. I want to build my companions to the max it can be. I wish the game kind of told me that direction, but it does not until the very end. It's like, this is your requirements. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I build these followers out a little bit differently than what you just told me then. So, okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it gives you all like it tries to highlight the importance of mag early on in the game, but then you kind of forget it's to keep reminding you that mag is actually an important resource until late in the game.
Even mid 50%, 70% of the game, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much mag. Like, what I literally did is like, okay, let me unlock all the base archetypes for all the companions, because that is just like such a small amount of mag, which I don't really regret. But coming at the end, it's like, oh yeah, this archetype requires 30,000 mag. I'm like, are you serious? Like, where am I supposed to get this? I have to grind like crazy in order to get this. So, yeah, metaphor. But we'll talk about it later. Spoiler cast.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the story with you, because like I loved getting random messages from Garret over the holidays where he's like, "Oh my God, this happened, and then this happened. What is going on?" Oh man,
it takes you through a roller coaster the last bit. So
yeah,
but yeah, I'm like 20 days left.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's almost over. You're almost
there. It's
there.
almost over. Yeah.
Good God. Well, that's exciting, Garret. But you know what else is exciting? Reading from the sacred texts. Oh. Because it's time, Garret. It's that time of year. It's the first show of the year. So as tradition, Garret, we are going to do our big 2025 RPG preview. We're going to talk about all the RPGs that we know about that are coming out this year. And Garrett's probably looking at the list and is like, that's a lot of games.
That is a lot of games.
The best part is, Garret, I went to Wikipedia and searched the term role-playing, and there were over 200 entries. And
so you whittled it down.
So I whittled it down. There's not every single RPG that's coming out this year on the list. I wanted to highlight, some of the ones that I know that we're going to be interested in, and also just what our community is going to be interested in. And then, just throw them on the list. Obviously, we can't talk about every other RPG, otherwise we're going to be here forever, because there's so many more anime-based RPGs, Garret, that are coming out this year that are like licensed anime RPGs that I'm like, I didn't even know that they were making a game based off this random anime franchise. Like, there's a Blue Exorcist role-playing game coming out this year.
Interesting.
Like, I haven't thought about Blue Exorcist since like the early 2000s.
I watched that show.
See, that's what I mean.
All the way through.
Yeah. So it's like there's stuff like that where I'm like, really? This is a thing? So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff we leave out. So I apologize if we leave out the game that you're looking most forward to, dear listener. But we only have so much time for the show. So let's get into it, Garret. So we're going to start first with all the games that have exact release dates. Games that have like an exact release date in 2025 that's been announced so far. And we got some interesting stuff for the first 3 months of the year, because we really don't know any solid release dates beyond March 21st of this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is interesting. So, and I think a lot has to do with the Switch 2, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So, Ys memoir, The Oath of Felghana, that's out this week. That's a remake of Ys 3. Seth has been playing it. He's been really enjoying it. A lot of people
looks
are really
fun.
Enjoying this game.
It looks close to Ys Origin, like that type of 2D, 3D space action RPG.
Well, it's a remake of a Super Nintendo game. So it's going to be kind of in that old Ys kind of style.
I like it. Yeah, it looks super cool.
Yeah. I've heard it's really good. Again, the Ys 3 is like regarded among the Ys fans as the best Ys game. So
there you go.
But next week, Garret, we have another remaster. Tales of Grace's F Remastered is coming out. This, of course, is a PS3 era Tales game that I actually really like a lot. I think it's actually a pretty solid Tales game, like one of the better Tales games. Like it's one of my favorite PS3 era Tales games, because there were some really good Tales games in that generation, and I think that one's really good.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's really hard though. So that's my one caution to anyone who's going to be playing it for the first time, is it's actually on the like hard side.
The harder action. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
especially with some of the later bosses. Like it's really difficult. But
so you cannot buy any games.
I will be getting this one though, because in my rules, Garrett, there are 2 games that I've already pre-ordered in full. That I pre-ordered in full like last September, well before I decided I was going to limit myself like this. And this was one of the 2 games. So I wasn't going to just cancel the pre-order and get a refund. I'm just gonna have it next week. So
cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the other one a little bit later because the other one's also a role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
But next up, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes to PC finally,
good
January 23rd.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Ryan, goal of 2025, building a PC.
Oh,
so, sometime in 2025. I mean, the new NVIDIA GPU series just got announced. You boys back into it. You know, I have this laptop. It has a 3060 mobile. It's running hot on a lot of games. Okay. Even Metaphor. Metaphor is like. Actually, it's funny. The way I play Metaphor, Ryan, you're gonna laugh.
Oh, okay. Actually,
the way I play Metaphor these days, I dock my Steam Deck into my 1440p monitor right here.
Okay.
And run it at 720p resolution.
Amazing. Just as God intended with Metaphor.
It runs on an average about like 40 to 60 FPS. No joke.
Okay. That's not bad.
But it's by far the chunkiest blockiest version of the game.
Like you're playing like the PS3 version of Metaphor.
No joke. Right? It looks like a Switch or PS3 version of the game. I'm like, okay, Switch 2 is definitely going to run this game because I can totally run it like this with the Steam Deck. The only reason I do that, though, is because, okay, I can watch YouTube videos and and then I have the instant sleep on my Steam Deck as well. Like, if I really need to if I'm in the middle of a battle and, like, you know, with the laptop, it's like, oh, I need to go. It's like, I have to quit the game, you know? Right. I have to, like, literally just like get out of it. But on the Steam Deck, it's like, no, just press the little power button off to the side and you're good to go. You're ready
because you're not using it for other tasks. You're using it to play games, right?
So that's exactly why I do it. It's just the convenience of it. And I'm like, man, I should have just gotten the Xbox or PlayStation version.
Yeah. But it wouldn't have been as convenient if you did that way. But
that's true. But anyways, that's how I play Metaphor. And where are we at? Oh, okay, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, PC.
Yeah.
That's cool.
People are finally going to get a chance to play it on PC.
Good deals on Green Man Gaming for that. I saw it for like already 40% off or something like that over there. So
we've already got Nate the Hate also at the time of recording this yesterday. He released a podcast yesterday where he confirmed through other sources that it's also coming to Switch 2 and Xbox this year. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, Switch 2 would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll talk about Switch 2 in a bit because I want to at least talk about that a little bit. But next up, moving to February. Those are all the January role-playing games, which is a lot. That's a lot of our role-playing games in January. But February, we've got The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2 coming out on Valentine's Day, Garrett. You and your date could play Trails Through Daybreak 2 on Valentine's Day.
That's definitely what me and my wife would love to do on Valentine's Day is play this super Japanese RPG.
Yep. It comes out the same day as the Tomb Raider collection. Valentine's Day is apparently a very popular day for game releases this year.
It's on a Tuesday, right? So
yeah, true. But still, Trails Through Daybreak 2 is interesting because it's like, I feel like Trails Through Daybreak just came out because it just came out over the summer. And then the second one is just coming out like 8 months later.
Yeah. Is this one already came out in Japan?
Oh, yeah. It released in Japan, I think, like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for you people.
Yeah. And also, you're welcome, Ron. Ron was very upset when we didn't talk about Trails Through Daybreak our year-long wrap-up. So there you go. We've placated the Falcom fans. And, Trails Through Daybreak is on my list, Garrett, of games to give another chance to this year.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's
good
fine.
Game.
Yeah. But, Garrett, the following week, February 18th, Avowed finally comes out.
Let's go.
Yep. Our backlogs are no longer in danger. Avowed can finally release. Of course, that for those that didn't understand the reference, that was the reason it was delayed out of this year. Last year,
of course,
our backlogs were too much, and we needed to free Avowed from our backlogs. So, Garrett, it's almost here. We're a month away from Avowed. Where's your hype level, man?
I'm ready. I'm ready to play it day one. It was my most anticipated RPG last year, and when it got delayed, I was actually a little surprised because I think they were just ready. Maybe they were just trying to be very strategic about the releases of Xbox games, and maybe they wanted to put more performance improvements on Avowed, but it's coming up in a month. Can't wait to play it.
Believe it or not, Garrett, this is also one of those games I'm allowed to play in the first 6 months because I don't have to buy it. It's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass, yeah.
So I can play this game.
That's good.
Before July. So I'm right there with you. I'm excited to play this day one. Like, this is going to be like my big game to play in February. Will be about I think.
Wow, it clears the other February games.
Well, and I also can't buy any of the other February games.
Anyways. Oh, that's true.
Until July, when I'm allowed to buy games again. So, but the only other February role-playing game that we have that's not a random Hyperdimension Neptunia game, because there's a bunch of those coming out in February for some reason. It's Monster Hunter Wilds, February 28th.
Big game.
About the month. I'm traditionally not a Monster Hunter fan. I didn't really love a lot of the other Monster Hunter games, so this one's not for me. Whereas Garrett, I know you're definitely more of a fan than I am.
Well, yeah, I've been kind of in and out recently. I did like Monster Hunter Rise. I played like 30 hours of it, and it was very good. I think I respect the loop. I respect the gameplay loop of Monster Hunter. But I think I just wrestling upon it, thinking about it, it's just like I don't think I'm really invested into it compared to other Monster Hunter fans. But I understand this one's gonna be a very big game, just like Monster Hunter. Was it Worlds?
Monster Hunter World, yeah.
Yeah. That it'll be that level of popularity.
Yeah, because this is trying to be like almost like the pseudo sequel to Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, with some improvements from Rise. So it looks good. It looks really good. So congrats to them getting this game out.
Yeah, I hope people enjoy it. I really do. Like I want people to like that game. So I hope it's awesome. But moving on, March 6th, it's finally coming out after being announced for a 2023 release date 2.5 years ago. The Smokin in 1 and 2 HD remaster, Gate, Rune, and Dune and Unification Wars finally is coming out on March 6th. So we're finally getting the Smokin in 1 and 2 HD remasters. I'm very excited to play this. I won't be able to, of course, purchase it until July, but this is one of those games that is earmarked as like one of the first games I'm thinking of picking up when I'm able to buy games again.
Got it. Sounds good. This was in my Fantasy Critic draft last year.
Yes, it was.
I totally thought it was gonna come out, and it was just crickets. It looks good. I think I still just would like to play Eiyuden Chronicles just to get the feeling of this type of game before buying any other games. So
especially since Eiyuden Chronicles is on Game Pass, so you have access to it, so you can try it. So makes sense. And then March 20th and 21st, Garrett, suddenly became very packed for role-playing games. Yes, it did. Because Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed till March 20th out of February. And yes, I know what you're thinking, Ryan, why are we talking about Assassin's Creed on an RPG show? And that's because Assassin's Creed Shadows continues the line of Assassin's Creed role-playing games. You know, that started with Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. So this was one of my most anticipated games from last year, Garrett. And then it got delayed into this year, into February, and then it got delayed out of February onto March 20th, which just happened this week. But I'm like stoked for this game. Like so far out of the games here, it's probably my most anticipated game.
And that one you have to wait on.
Yes, I will have to wait on. And now, mind you, I will put it out there. We do have a pretty good relationship with Ubisoft, and if we do receive codes, I am allowed to play games we get.
A review code.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So it is possible that I do actually play it for, like, attain a review code for it. But otherwise, I will be just waiting for it to come out in July. And the best part is, Garrett, if I wait till July to pick it up, it'll be like well on sale by that point anyways. So it'll kind of work out in my favor either way. But I'm excited for it, man. I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, I'm going to play an Assassin's Creed game this year, or maybe wrap up Valhalla. It's definitely not going to be Shadows, though. I would like to play an Assassin's Creed game this year, though.
Okay. But are you looking for at more of the RPG style Assassin's Creed games, or something, just any of them in general?
Well, I want to get into. I want to wrap up Valhalla if I ever go back into the Assassin's Creed world, just because I was a good ways into it, and I just want to get back into that world. Also Odyssey as well, but those are big RPG ones.
Yeah.
I do want to check out. I was almost done with Syndicate a few years ago. I just want to see how that feels again, because I know it has the 60 FPS update on Xbox and PlayStation. So
yep, finally.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was a game for the longest time that didn't even run on PS5 because it was one of 3 games from the PS4 era that they were just like, nope, we're not making this work for PS5. So
Weird.
I love the fact that they went back and patched it with the 60 frames per second patch to actually make it actually function on PS5. But I love Syndicate. That was the game that brought me back into Assassin's Creed. So I would love you to check that one. Go back to that one as well. Like, I think it's pretty cool. But the same day, Garrett.
Same day.
March 20th, the Xenobabe movement returns. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition releases. And this is the only Xenoblade game, Garrett, that I am on record on saying I enjoyed this game a lot. I actually really liked it on Wii U. And I'm excited to pick the Switch one up later when I can buy games later this year.
I am very much looking forward to this one. It's the only mainline Xenoblade Chronicles game I have not played. Well, I guess it's not mainline. Well, it's a main game. It's a main Xenoblade game. So
yeah, but it is still more of a side game versus the other 3.
You know what I mean? I played the other 3. I haven't played this one.
Yeah, because it's very different.
I saw a recent trailer on this. It looks the same, but different. Like, it has a very MMO-ish style to it. I'm curious how I'm gonna like this. So yeah. But one of my most anticipated RPGs this year.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Skycatcher chimes in the chat saying, "I'll be playing the Wii U version of X this
as
year."
God intended.
As God intended. Just hopefully, Skycatcher, you made sure to download the high resolution assets from the Wii U store before the Wii U store closed, because otherwise, if you didn't, that game's gonna look real rough.
It's gonna look clunky.
Yeah. But then the following day, Garrett, Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land releases. And I think you and I both are actually excited about this one because, I'm not really an Atelier fan. You know that. The audience knows that. But I don't know. There's something about this game ever since they've shown it. It's just like, I think if I'm going to get into this series at all, it'll be this game.
Yeah, it seems like with every iteration of Atelier, they're trying to be more kind of aligned with, or try to focus more on the general audience.
Yeah.
While keeping the classic fans happy with the crafting and everything. It's kind of cool with this one. It's more action focused. It's a very action RPG compared to the previous ones. Also, the building aspect looks really cool as well. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see how Atelier Yumiya does.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm for once, Garrett. I'm excited for an Atelier game.
That's
I'm excited
good.
to check this one out.
Nice.
I can't wait to play it. But again, I will have to wait to play it until later this year. But when I do play it, I'm going to be excited to play it. But so that rounds out all the games we have exact release dates for at the moment. We have a couple other games that have windows attached to them for this year. Starting with Demon School, a game that was supposed to come out last year. It was supposed to come out last September, and then it kind of got delayed a week before it came out.
Yeah,
and
it was
it's
super
been delayed
weird.
to Q1 of this year.
Yeah, that's a weird call, and I maybe it's just the indie kind of like studio jitters or something like that. But yeah, a week before they're like, okay, we're delaying it for months now. It's just like, all right, we'll see how that goes. It looks great though, and the demo was pretty good. So
yeah, I heard a lot of people really like
solid.
that demo. So it's gonna be interesting. Now Skycatcher throws in a comment here. I'm gonna do a slight correction here. So Skycatcher says, I think not buying games this year, Yumiya hurts the most. It looks so good. Yeah, like I said, I'm excited for that game. But just to throw it out there, I will be able to buy games this year. I'm not doing the full year like Sean and Matt did. I will be able to buy games in July again because there are certain reasons why, like this fall, I need to be able to be playing certain games that I'm not going to get into here.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even really a Grand Theft Auto fan.
I know.
So, but yeah, so for that reason, that's why I didn't do the whole year. It's just going to be in July. So there's going to be a lot of like, but at the same time, I wanted to have like 6 months to focus on like backlog games and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing. But
cool.
So Demon School, I'm really interested in this one. I hope it's good, and we'll find out sooner rather than later. Because Q1, like I said, Q1 is basically around the same time as all the games we just talked about. So I'm imagining it shouldn't be that bad. Next up, the Lunar Remastered Collection. Talked about it earlier, Garrett. Just spring of 2025. Just spring. I mean, that could be anything. That could be March through
June.
like May or June.
Or May,
right?
late May, yeah.
Yeah. So I think anywhere kind of in that window is when we can kind of expect this one. I'm assuming that it like whatever the first Nintendo Direct is this year, Garrett, or whatever the first State of Play this year is, that's when we'll get the release date for this. Like they'll announce it there. Cool. I'm excited though because this is the other game that I've already pre-ordered in full, so I will be getting it.
Cool.
And be able to play it before July. So and I love the Lunar games, so I can't wait to go back and play these.
And you got it on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But then final game that we have a window for, and we should actually have a release date for this soon. Claire Obscura Expedition 33. That is the game we saw at the Microsoft showcase last year, Garrett. That almost looks like it's a Legend of Dragoon style role-playing game. It's turn-based action, but you kind of have like these quick time events as your characters are attacking to then deal extra damage. This is coming out in Q2 of this year. But we also know that this is also at the Xbox Developer Direct that's happening on the 23rd because they just announced that this week. So I would imagine we're going to have a release date for that one at that event.
Yep. I'm very excited for this one. It's coming on Game Pass. I will play this day one.
Yeah.
When it comes out. So
same here. Like ever since they showed that initial trailer, I was excited. And then they had a gameplay showcase, like a 30-minute gameplay video that came out. And that sold me even more. I'm like, dude, this game looks awesome.
It just looks so good. So super excited for this.
Yeah. I'm so excited for Claire Obscura. So yeah, we'll definitely be checking that out. It'll be on Game Pass. So I think we'll both be playing it. Although maybe my Game Pass will be up by then, Garrett, because I have a Game Pass until June, I believe. And then I don't know if I'm going to re-up it. I don't think I'm going to. But
okay. So yeah, Game Pass, it just depends for me. Like, I think mine expires the end of the year. And I think after that, I'll reevaluate. Like, either if I have a PC by then, I'll definitely probably just do PC Game Pass because it's so much cheaper compared to Ultimate. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, especially since we're starting to see like some of the Blizzard stuff and stuff come into to PC Game Pass. Like I think it's becoming a much better value than it used to be just on its own. So those are all the games that we have exact kind of windows for 2025. Again, a lot less than I was expecting. But now, Garrett, it's time to get into the RPGs that have 2025 just listed as their release title. Either in a trailer or in a press release, they've announced that they're coming out in 2025. We're to start with the other Atelier game, and I'm going to butcher this name, so please be excited. Atelier Reziria, or Restilia. Resleria.
That's weird.
The Red Alchemist and the White Guardian is the other Atelier game that we don't really know that much about. We kind of have like the character art designs and that's it.
Yeah, so this one is a kind of spin-off from the mobile game. So don't be so excited about this one compared to Atelier Yumiya. It just seems like another, you know how they do the remakes of the classic games or something along the lines of that. It just feels like, okay, here's another Atelier game. I think it's really more for the classic fans, but also it has a gacha system to it. So yeah, I mean, keep your eye out, but I would say be more excited with Atelier Yumiya compared to this one.
Yeah, for sure. Like that, Yumiya feels like the big next mainline game, and this feels like a spin-off that's just happens to come out in the same year. So, next up, Borderlands 4, Garrett. Will it be better than Borderlands 3 is the question on everyone's mind. I hope so.
Me too, man. Borderlands 3 was rough. Borderlands 3 had some positives and negatives. The negative things was definitely the characters were so just poorly written, and I hated the villains so much. Like they were just not fun to deal with at all. And then the map traversing was a little bit of a slog. But I did like the shooting. I did like the looting and all that fun stuff. So we'll see how Borderlands 4 does.
Yeah.
I'm like lukewarm. I'm like cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I'm more excited for this than I normally would be because I liked Tiny Tina's Wonderland so much.
It was a good one.
I actually liked that game a lot, and I've never traditionally been like a Borderlands person, so that got me actually even more excited for Borderlands 4, I think, and I'm hoping it's good. And I mean, I'm hoping for Randy Pitchford's sake that this game is good, because after the Borderlands movie and everything else and where
that movie is
right now, they kind of need this to hit a little bit.
Yeah, well, we'll see how this one goes. I keep seeing the Borderlands series like on sale like crazy. I have most of the stuff, but I don't have 3 on Steam. So maybe I'll jump on that, kind of revisit it, or I'll just I actually did get Borderlands 3 from Epic at the time because it was an Epic exclusive.
Amazing.
For like the first year or so.
Remember when that was a thing? When
that was a thing.
We had a ton of like Epic exclusive games, of like big first party PC games.
Yeah, the only latest one that we've had is Alan Wake 2. Other than that, nothing much else now. Borderlands 4 is definitely not going to be an Epic exclusive. So
yeah, I think a lot of companies learned their lesson after a lot of those games. But, God, Final Fantasy VII remake was an Epic exclusive. I forgot about.
Yes, it was an Epic exclusive.
Good God.
For the longest time.
Yep. All right, next up, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake. Of course, we got Dragon Quest 3 at the end of last year. We got the announcement that 1 and 2 are coming at some point this year. I'm excited. I'm excited to play these. I still need to play 3, though. 3 is on my list to play in the next 6 months while I wait to purchase other games. So I am excited to play 3 at some point.
Yeah. I'm on the same boat. I have Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D on my Steam Deck, ready to go. Once I'm done with Metaphor, once I'm done with Mass Effect, once I'm done with blah, 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 blah. So
Zelda 2.
Zelda 2, you know. Actually, what my plan is, Ryan, like I'm actually almost done with Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga on 3DS. Once I wrap, that's my commuter game. I literally go on a bus. I go on the BART. I'm playing the game, and I'm pretty well coordinated with it. I balance myself in the BART, you know, standing.
It's a little bit easier with like a 3DS than like if you brought like a Steam Deck or a Switch or something.
Exactly. So once I'm done with the 3DS, pull out this guy. This will be my Zelda 2 commuter game.
Nice.
Like, and we'll do an episode together.
Nice. I can't wait for that. And also, like, I totally understand that thought process, Garrett, because like when I used to take the subway all the time, I at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring my Switch on the subway. It'll be great. And then it's just like, if it gets packed at all, you can't really play it.
You can't take it out. No.
Whereas like my go-to commuting handheld now, Garrett, is the Analog Pocket. Like,
for sure.
It's so small and lightweight. It's just so much easier to bring that on literally anything. Which is nice.
You just put it in your pocket, and then once you're sitting down or just standing there, I just take it out and ready to go. So
exactly. 3DS was always really good for that too. Because I used to play that on my commute all the time. After that, we got Elden Ring Night Rain. That's the multiplayer Elden Ring game.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to try it out because we just got the beta testing signups go live this week. So if people are interested, by the way, you should go sign up for that. I did. And I'm excited to try that one out because I think that it could actually potentially be pretty fun.
I actually played a little bit of Elden Ring during the break with a friend. So actually, we did the seamless co-op mod, and it works pretty well. And it was just literally just me and my friend, both in the same world of Elden Ring, just going around. It does break the game.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 players instead of 1, but I think it was a little bit better for me just because he could teach me the ropes of how to play this game. So
it worked out a little bit better than what we made Fui and Matt go through at Extra Life, where they had to play 2-player, 1 controller.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Not the way to play co-op in that game.
Yeah. So I'm sure this will be a big hit. Elden Ring Night Rain was also a big, one of my top picks for Fantasy Critic, but didn't get it. So I'm sure it'll be a smashing hit.
It'll be interesting to see how it reviews because it is a multiplayer.
It is a multiplayer roguelike-ish game, so
yeah,
definitely a different take.
Yeah. Next up, Fable, Garrett. First of all, do we even think Fable comes out this year? Because it's currently.
I don't know, man.
I think part of me feels pretty confident it will actually come out this year.
They've been showcasing it for so long. I wish they had more gameplay reveal, but yeah, I could see it being later this year, like fall.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that when I think about Microsoft's lineup for this year, I think besides Call of Duty, I think this is their big fall game besides Call of Duty.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And Outer Worlds, we're about to talk about it.
We'll talk about Braided and Outer Worlds 2, also announced for this year as well. I think that actually comes out before Fable and Call of Duty. That's probably their September or August game.
Okay, yeah. I'm very excited for Outer Worlds 2. I want to replay the first one with the DLC. I didn't play the DLC with that. I have it on Steam Deck. And then I did watch the secret level. Have you seen the secret level of this episode?
I didn't see the Outer Worlds secret level, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I actually like it. The secret levels are pretty hit and miss, though.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch the whole series. I watched a couple, I cherry picked them a little bit. The only one I really liked was the Mega Man one.
The Mega Man was good, but so short. It was super, super short.
It's also hilarious, Garrett, because that's how they chose to announce that a new Mega Man game is coming through the secret level episode.
It looks good. And then the Outer Worlds one is a very good one. So I highly recommend watching that secret level.
I should go back and watch it, because a lot of them, like I said, since I saw some of them were really hit and miss, I was just like, I'm not going to watch all these. Yeah. The Concord one in particular, Garrett, I was just like, what am I even doing? Why am I
I didn't even watch that one.
God. It was continuing the Concord story and setting up events that are going to happen with new updates to Concord.
Yeah, it was going to be a smashing hit, success, and then
it was going to be something
pulled out of the rug.
Yeah. Next up, Pokemon Legends ZA, or Z-A, or Pizza, whatever you want to call it. People are excited about this one, whereas, again, I'm just like, it's Pokemon Legends. I don't know.
I'm very excited about this one. I'm curious how it runs on Switch.
Yep.
The good old Switch. I'm curious if this is going to be a cross-port?
Yeah. What would happen, Garrett, if this game came out and they only made a Switch 1 version that you could play on Switch 2? But what if it was Switch 1 only?
Yeah, that would be a weird one. It's super weird. I really enjoyed the first Pokemon Legends. I did. So I'm excited for this one. Yeah. I'm not so excited about the performance. No. The issues that could potentially come out of it, but I do enjoy the setting. I think they have a clear direction. Lumiose City, based on Pokemon XY. That's why it's called Pokemon ZA. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure, especially because, again, I feel like it's going to end up, you're probably going to have similar mechanics, but it's probably going to be a very different game too.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in like much farther into the future too, right?
No, this is very historical.
It's still in the past? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like the founding of the city?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like the founding of Lumia City and how I think building it out and stuff and something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And then the last one is Trails in the Sky first chapter. This is a full remake of the first Trails game. And I think this game actually looks pretty good. Despite my Falcom hate, I actually think it looks pretty good.
I'm gonna say something bold here. Ron's gonna go crazy over this.
Okay.
If there's any Trails game that they put me in, into the series, it might be this game.
Yeah.
It might be this one because it's the original first Trails in the Sky game. It's a remake of it. I would be excited to try this one out. This particular game. So
Same.
there you go.
This is what I'm like genuinely excited to give a chance to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is probably the most positive we've spoken about Falcom in a while. Although I've talked about it before. I do like a couple of the Trails games, but I do want to play more of them to try and get into them. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is the first one, and it looks like a 3D just remake.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
For sure. So those are all the games, Garrett, that we know for sure are coming out this year, or at least have 2025 release dates of some kind attached to them. Obviously, some of these games could be delayed. In fact, it's almost certainty that one or two of these games are going to get delayed. But overall, what do we think about this year so far, Garrett? Because I think this is a pretty good list of games. And like I said, there's a ton of other RPGs I just omitted because there was just too many to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a good list. I don't think there's other than Avowed, Claire Obscure is another one. I think those two are the big ones for me. Like super huge heavy hitters RPGs, but other than that, there's not oh my gosh, I need to play the Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah. What about Yumiya? Yeah. It's not in there either?
Yumiya, not. I mean, yeah. So I might. It's so hard because it's so close to X. I don't want to grab that day one if I'm getting X. So yeah, we'll see how it goes this year. It's pretty strong lineup. I don't think it's as much as last year, but it's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, I'm going to actually bring Ryu into the conversation here because Ryu actually had a question that with where you were kind of going with this, Garrett. So Ryu asks, I'm excited for a couple of games from everyone's favorite developer, Falcom. We've got Trails Through Daybreak 2 in February and Sky the First later in the fall. Besides these two, the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster and Xenoblade Chronicles X Remasters are also on my radar. 2024 was a really great year for role-playing games. JRPGs a little bit more with Atlas releasing so many JRPG masterpieces. Do you think 2025 can reach the RPG heights that 2024 has? And with going into your point, Garrett, I also kind of agree with you where it's I don't know if we're going to get to where we were last year because I think last year was a banner year for JRPGs in particular, as Ryu points out here. But I definitely think there's a lot of games on this list that I'm personally excited about. And I think it's going to be probably a good year for role-playing games. But it's also going to be, similar to last year, I think, a really good year for Japanese role-playing games. Yes, there are some good Western role-playing games in here. But as far as we know of, Garrett, besides Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Borderlands, Fable, those are really the only major Western kind of role-playing games we have on here. Assassin's Creed Shadows as well. Whereas almost all of these are Japanese role-playing games. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I do want to bring in one big RPG. I think you really missed on this one. It's releasing February 4th, and that's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 by Warhorse Studio. So I think it's probably not a big huge game, but I think it's a very impactful Western role-playing game coming in earlier this year. It looks really good. And I did enjoy it of what I played of the first one, for sure. So that's a big Western role-playing game coming out. We'll see how that goes. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm more in line to agree with you that it's not as strong right now of a year. Like there are some highlights avowed. Of course, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm like, every time I see a Ubisoft game, I'm like, okay, wait 3 months. It'll be updated. It'll be working. It'll be on sale. That's my mentality always with Ubisoft games now. Xenoblade Chronicles X, of course, and then I'm curious about Borderlands 4. Pokemon Legends ZA, I'm into. So so there's some that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm very excited for, but there's not like the heavy hitter like tentpole like Baldur's Gate 3
or
type
Metaphor or something.
Or Metaphor, yeah, exactly. So,
like I don't know how many of these role playing games will even be nominated for Game of the Year this year.
I agree with you. Yeah.
But let's bring a couple of people in from chat. First of all,
okay.
We got Avius Nilan, who says, really looking forward to the Lunar remaster myself. Me too. I can't wait for that collection. I can't wait to replay both of those games. I love those games. Yarden asks a good question here, though. Will Assassin's Creed Shadows and Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I guess we could bring in Yumiya too, will them releasing on the same day hurt each other?
I think more X and Atelier Yumiya would hurt each other more than Shadows. I think Shadows is such a far separate genre of RPG, Western role-playing game. Then, well, it's a big open world, and Xenoblade Chronicles X is a big open world as well. So I think you got the Xenoblade fans. Let's just say you got the fans. Yeah, the people that are showing up for Xenoblade, Garrett, are the people that were going to show up no matter what. Probably for Xenoblade. Yeah. There are some casual fans of Xenoblade, but I think it's one of those franchises where it's like, if you're kind of in, you're in on it. Pretty much, yeah. But I think the overlap of Xenoblade and Atelier is quite high compared to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows just appeals to a much larger casual audience than either of these do, just with the Assassin's Creed name alone. So I think it's the type of game that's going to succeed no matter what. And likewise, they have the benefit, with these two launching on the same day, they have the benefit of the fact that neither one of them are on the same console. So that's true. The only people that it will really affect and pinch the wallet of are people that have multiple consoles, that have a Switch and have a main console. But I also think a lot of people are just going to buy both if they're interested in either of these games. Just going to buy both games. Or Assassin's Creed is the type of the game, as you talked about, Garrett, where it's got the Ubisoft kind of thought process to it, where people know it'll just go on sale over the summer. Yeah, it'll go on sale. I think it's just more, hearing the delays more and more, I think from a technical fidelity, it's just a little rough. Yeah. And they're just trying to delay the inevitable, and it's like it's going to come out in March, and it's going to be pretty rough, similar to Star Wars Outlaws in the beginning. So so my mentality is like, okay, let's see how it goes. Let's wait a couple months and see how it fixes up over the course. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Skycatcher chiming in saying, probably there will be some big indie RPG bangers coming out of nowhere. And that happens too. Yeah, it's just, it's one of those things too, where there might have even been some of those promising ones on the list that I just might have skipped through because I just don't know a ton about all the indie RPGs that are coming out this year. But there's probably going to be some good indie RPGs too at some point. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to definitely take a look at some of those. And speaking of Skycatcher also wrote in and said, I'm most excited for Azuma 11 Victory Road from level 5. My focus is to save money this year, so I do not plan on buying any new games except for Victory Road, which has actually been a godsend since my backlog and I are going to get some real good alone time this year without any new remasters or remakes coming out this year distracting us. That's interesting. Okay, there's Azuma 11. Aren't they making another one?
like Level 5 making another game?
Deca Police.
Yes, the Deca Police as well. That is, both of those are eventually supposed to come out at some point. But I feel like we've been hearing about these games for a while.
Well, Deca Police, it looks like it's slated for 2026 now. Professor Layton in the New World of Steam is this year, and the Fantasy Life The Girl Who Steals Time, that one was delayed. It was slated for last year. It's coming this year. But yeah, Inazuma. There's another, man, I would have to look it up. There's like another, kind of like Deca Police. Oh, wait, it's from the studio that does Danganronpa.
Yeah. I know which one you were talking about. But that's, because that's not an RPG, but that's a game that I'm pretty excited
It was a tactical RPG that they're making. On Danganronpa developer. What was their name again?
Oh, well, it's a Spike Chunsoft game.
Yeah. I'll have to check later. But basically, they have a tactical RPG slated this year. Or somewhere in the near future. And they say... and they say this is kind of the final game if it doesn't do commercially well. So,
yeah, because traditionally, like their games don't do commercially well, but they have a big cult following for their games, but they don't really have like a big people like set of groups like commercial success behind any of their games. So. I also tried to look it up, Garret, and it's like I'm too distracted from this. So let's move on, because there is one thing I want to ask you about before we kind of round things out for the show today. Is that I didn't put it on the list here, but I want to know I want to talk about the Switch 2 a little bit, because I think that shake things up a little bit, especially because I think a lot of the reason why like we've got this specific list of games to talk about here is that Switch 2 hasn't come out, and there's probably a lot of games that are coming to Switch 2 that we just don't know about, that they can't announce until the console's announced. So, like, do you think that first of all, do you think, like, what do you think there are going to be what big ports do you think are going to come to Switch 2? And and how many more RPGs are we probably looking at this year? Like, with Switch 2 coming this year?
With Switch 2, the only franchise other than Xenoblade I can really believe in is Fire Emblem. Some sort of Fire Emblem, but they've had Fire Emblem close to their chest for a long time now. It's been almost 2 years since Fire Emblem Engage was released. And we kind of know, well, we know and we don't, that they've had a Fire Emblem remake ready to go for a long time. So I'm curious how they're gonna release that one out. Are they gonna do a Switch 1, Switch 2 cross ports? I can see that just being just a Switch game, just because of I mean, Fire Emblem Engage ran pretty well on the Switch. So yeah, that's the only Fire Emblem or like RPG franchise I can think of for Switch 2. But
at least for first party, because I think there's gonna be a lot of third party stuff coming. Like we talked about with Final Fantasy VII Remake as an example. Like we've heard that. Final Fantasy 16, Nate the Hate also talked about that one and kind of in the same episode as well for Switch 2. Like I think we're going to get more of that stuff. Like maybe Yarden actually brought up what I was going to bring up. Maybe not Persona, because Yarden says Persona 6 Switch 2 timed exclusive. I think Sega has learned that they're not going to do any timed exclusives, but I do think Persona 6 will be on Switch 2. Just like
eventually.
I also think like Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor make perfect sense for Switch 2 this year.
Yeah, Persona 6 will come out, but you know, I think it'll be announced this year. It's going to be a little bit before they'll release the game. Metaphor is totally going to be on Switch 2. If I can play Metaphor on 720p resolution on my Steam Deck, it's definitely going to be on Switch 2.
Like you and I both know that game wouldn't have run on Switch 1, but you bet your bottom dollar it'll probably run on Switch 2.
Yeah. And so it'll be the original Metaphor, and then 2 years down the road we're going to get Metaphor Super.
It'll be the Refantastico edition, Garret.
Refantastico edition.
Yeah. It'll be the one that's actually Refantastico. But yeah, like in fact, I've been thinking about this a lot, Garret. Ever since we got that announcement of the Xbox showcase, the developer direct coming up,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I've been thinking about it in the back of my mind because the last developer direct, they had a Japanese developer on it, and they announced Metaphor at the Xbox showcase, and I'm like, what if it's actually Persona 6 is the mystery game that they've been teasing that gets announced this week or during that developer
That would be
direct?
crazy.
Like people would lose their minds, but I
That would
also
be
think
crazy.
it's something that could realistically happen.
Yeah, I don't know. They've been really interacting with Xbox a lot.
Yep.
It's possible, but I also think
Because they announced because you have to remember they announced Reload at an Xbox show. They announced Metaphor at an Xbox show. Like, I think when they eventually announce Persona 6, it's a very realistic possibility they announce it at an Xbox show.
yeah, okay. I don't think it's going to be any exclusive around it. It's
No.
totally going to be a
No, it's not.
multi-platform release.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting if it's in that developer. I think they're going to wait a little bit. I think it's going to be, I don't know, mid-year or even VGAs. I think they can hold out as much as they can with Persona 6.
Because I think you and I both agree that game, I think, is coming out probably next year. I think that game is actually
Yeah,
coming out
I think so.
at
Yeah,
some point next year. So, but that'll be interesting. Of course, Yarden chimes in with my favorite thing in the world: Switch to Starfield.
Yeah, everyone's going to love that.
Yeah. Well, we heard about Master Chief Collections probably coming to Switch 2, so maybe Starfield comes to Switch 2 at some point. But
Yeah, Starfield ran like garbage on my Steam Deck, so it was kind of like a RAM issue or something like that. So.
but even then, like it barely ran on Xbox Series X when it came out. So I'm like, how
That's
does
true.
that game even run on Switch 2? Skycatcher, I love this one too. Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2. I wish that was
that
would be fun.
That would be the dream, Skycatcher. That would be the dream.
Yeah. But what if instead of Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2, they then did a reverse of Fire Emblem Cross Shin Megami Tensei, where instead of the games playing more like Shin Megami Tensei, they made them play more like Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem.
It was developed by Intelligent Systems instead of Atlas. Like how interesting it would be like that. Because I don't know if you remember Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Garrett, but Street Fighter Cross Tekken originally was supposed to be like a 2-game collaboration where Street Fighter Tekken was developed by Capcom, and they made it kind of like Street Fighter, but with Tekken characters. And then they were supposed to eventually, Bandai Namco was supposed to develop Tekken Cross Street Fighter, which was the same concept, but it played as a 3D fighting game with Street Fighter characters. So I imagine like what if they did something similar where they kind of switched things around and it played more like it was a strategy role playing game with Shin Megami Tensei characters.
That would be interesting. I probably would not I would have to see it in order to believe in it.
Yeah, it would be
Kinda
so
deal.
weird. It's so weird of an
It's so
idea. I'm
weird.
like, yes, please. That sounds like fun. So then predictions. I have to ask you, Garrett, since you're not on a Nintendo show anymore. I feel like this is your one outlet to talk about this. When do you actually think the Switch 2 comes out? Is it soon?
I think it's inevitable. I imagine the Switch 2 would be maybe like I could see April, May. I see something like beginning of summer type of area for sure. And then let it cook, let it grow the base a little bit for the holidays. I think that's the optimal time. It could be as early as March, but no later than early May.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Whereas I kind of believe Genki when the accessory manufacturer, where they're like all these accessories for the Switch 2 are coming out in April. So I'm like, it's either coming out in April or they're going to release them like 2 weeks before the Switch comes out in early May. So I think you and I are kind of have like a similar ballpark in mind because but I think we probably see it announced before the end of the month at this point, which is exciting.
Yeah.
But also, again, it's going to main reason I want to talk about it here because I think it's going to greatly increase the number of RPGs we're going to have here to talk about this year. Which is exciting.
It's definitely gonna bring in a lot of third-party stuff that it'll be released in other platforms as well. So, there's gonna be some major releases coming out on Nintendo quite soon. So, can't wait.
Same here. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of the RPG Cave. Now, I will point out there for next week's tease for next week, folks. We will be doing our annual RPG predictions next week. So that's going to be the topic for next week. So everyone get your
dang.
predictions ready. I will be putting a post in the questions post this week for those. So please be excited for that. But of course, we have to say thank you to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/Carpool Gaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the PlayStation Drive. You check out all of his music over his Linktree, linktr.ee/pme.jb. He just dropped a new album over the holidays. It's pretty good. Go check it out over there on his old Linktree. And Cwagmire, who reminds you that the best babes are in fact Xenobabes, and TechMike, who says whether you're a Kevesi or Agnian, you're a Xenobabe at heart. Links to all of our ultimate producers can always be found in the description of our podcast. Our platinum producers, Smokin Joe, Solo, the Captain, and Tim Paullin, and our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily O'Kelly, John 32, Ligerwoods 330, OldMrFrump, Patrice Mallette, Peje, Shane Erickson, TheDonRob, the Jiggy Collector, Toxic, and of course our newest gold member, Stephen Keller. Huge thank you once again to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. If you want to head on over there, choose the tier that's right for you, and we're going to have a good time over there. So, Garrett, plugs go.
So you can follow me on Blue Sky at Blind Explosion. I don't really post too much, but I do every now and then. Probably like once a month type of deal. It's just like, not so much. But I do kind of look through Blue Sky every once in a while. And then, of course, I'll be in the Discord channels. I read every single message on the RPG Cave. Not so much on the other channels. I don't have that much time in my life.
Right.
But I've been recently into the PC one, of course. Kind of gauge interest on PC parts and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, Ryan.
Nice. Well, as for me, you can always find me in the Discord at Ryan Turford. I'm not on any social media, but I am on Backlogged because I am continuing to log the games I've been playing this year, including I've been putting up my little mini reviews over there on Backlogged.
Did you put your mini reviews of was it Residence of Fate?
I sure did. I sure put one out. I wrote something about it. So you can check me out on Backlogged at Ryan Turford, all one word.
Cool.
Because that's kind of where I'm kind of posting these days. And yeah, my X account still exists, but I'm not really on there. I haven't posted anything on there, or even logged into X since November. So, but anyways, for Garrett Bland, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been the 167th level of the RPG Cave, and we're out.
Bye-bye.